I call to order this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. The time is now 5:04. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Now we go. I'll start over again. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting has been emailed to the Daily Record and the Morris News on January 4th, 2024, and posted on the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available on www.morristwp.com under Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and township staff: any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Here.
Mr. Jonnada.
Here.
Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Here. And for the record, we'll note that Mayor Donna Griglia cannot be with us tonight. Madam Clerk, read the closed session resolution.
Resolution number 194-24, authorizing the governing body to conduct a closed meeting as defined in the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas the Township Committee is of the opinion that such circumstance presently exists. And whereas the Township Committee wishes to discuss the following: general litigation and affordable housing.
Thank you. May I have a motion to... Excuse me? I have a motion to approve Resolution 194-24.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. At this time, we are going to move into closed session and resume with the regular meeting at 7 p.m. this evening. This closed session may resume after the regular meeting. Call to order this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. The time is now 7:01. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting was emailed to the Daily Record and Morris News on January 4th, 2024, and posted to the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available on our website, www.morristwp.com, under Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and township staff: any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Before we get going, you see that Mayor Griglia is not on the dais tonight. She can't be with us and sends her regards to the public. She asked me to read this message to our residents. I am sorry to miss this meeting, knowing every Township Committee meeting is so important. I was given the opportunity to participate on a national level in the democratic process, and in doing so, gain insight and experience that will extend to the local level, where we continue to strive to do better. And with that, I will ask our clerk for a roll call.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Here.
Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Mr. Jonnada.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes, here. We are going to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, but before we say the Pledge of Allegiance, and I ask everybody to rise, I'm going to ask everyone for a moment of silence. Earlier today, U.S. Representative Bill Pascrell Jr. passed away. Congressman Pascrell represented the 9th Congressional District for 14 terms and previously served as mayor of Paterson. We are thankful for his service to our country, to the state of New Jersey, and his beloved city of Paterson. I ask everyone to keep his memory in your hearts and his family in your thoughts as we now recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now just a moment, please. Very good, thank you. First order of business is the approval of minutes from May 15th, 2024, closed and regular, and June 19th, 2024, closed and regular. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thanks. Next, we have two proclamations on our agenda, one recognizing Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and second recognizing Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I'm going to turn it over to Committee Man Jonnada to present Cancer Awareness Month.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Whereas prostate cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in American men, about 1 in 44 men will die of prostate cancer, and about 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer during their lifetime. And whereas the American Cancer Society's estimates in the United States in 2024, there will be approximately 299,010 new cases and about 35,250 deaths from prostate cancer. And whereas prostate cancer is more likely to develop in older men, and about 6 in 10 prostate cancers are diagnosed in men who are 65 or older. The average age of men when they are first diagnosed is about 67. And whereas prostate cancer risk is higher in African American men and in Caribbean men of African ancestry than in men of other races, and whereas having a father or brother with prostate cancer more than doubles a man's risk of developing this disease, and whereas prostate cancer death rate declined by about half from 1993 to 2013, most likely due to early detection and advances in treatment, and whereas education regarding prostate cancer and early detection strategies is critical to saving lives, preserving and protecting our families, whereas all men are at risk for prostate cancer, and we encourage the citizens of Morris Township to increase awareness of what can be done to prevent and cure prostate cancer. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Township Committee of the Township of Morris do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 to be Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. And on a personal note, I should note that my uncle passed away from prostate cancer, mainly because it was caught late in his life and it was too late for treatment. So I encourage everybody all men to please get tested. Thank you.
Thank you, Committee Man. And next is the Suicide Prevention Awareness Proclamation, which I will read into the record. Whereas September marks National Suicide Prevention Month, a month to remember the lives lost to suicide, the millions of people who have struggled with suicidal ideation, and acknowledge the individuals, families, and communities that have been impacted. And whereas the goals of Suicide Prevention Month include raising the visibility of mental health resources and suicide prevention services available in our community, removing the stigma from talking about mental health and suicide, building understanding of the causes of suicide and how to prevent it, and helping those in need get the appropriate support services. Whereas suicide is the 11th leading cause of death in the United States, in 2022, 49,476 Americans died by suicide, and there were an estimated 1.6 million suicide attempts. The age-adjusted suicide rate in 2022 was 14.21 per 100,000 individuals. Firearms accounted for 54.64% of all suicide deaths. And whereas firearms are the most common method used in suicides, firearms were used in 55% of suicides in 2022, and the implementation of the red flag laws have shown to reduce suicide rates. Whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background. And whereas on July 16, 2020, the 988 nationwide 3-digit dialing code for mental health crisis and suicide prevention began operation. 988 connects people to compassionate, accessible care and support available for anyone experiencing mental health related distress, thoughts of suicide, mental health or substance use crisis. People can also dial 988 if they are worried about a loved one who may need crisis support. And whereas, in accordance with our values as a stigma-free community, the Township of Morris chooses to publicly state and place our full support behind local educators, mental health professionals, athletic coaches, PAC leaders, police officers, and other community leaders and organizations and parents as partners in supporting our community in simply being available to one another. And we encourage all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors, and to offer them support and resources, because a simple gesture of caring can go a long way for helping someone realize that they are not alone and suicide is not the answer. So now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Committee does hereby proclaim our recognition and support of September as National Suicide Month. And I just have a couple of personal remarks. That this proclamation not only raises the awareness of the issue of suicide, but it also provides actions we can take for others. As we said, we can check on your neighbors and your friends, remind people that there is help on the other end of the phone call by dialing 988. And if you feel that our red flag law should be invoked, then you can make a confidential call to the police department. I'd also like to take the opportunity to highlight legislation recently introduced by our Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill called the Secure Storage Information Act. And this legislation will expand access to secure storage information and reduce the cost of purchasing secure storage devices for gun owners. As the Congresswoman states, secure storage is an effective way to reduce firearm deaths. I always stress the importance of community here in Morris Township, where we support each other and look out for our neighbors. And I urge everyone to heed the message of this proclamation and step up to support somebody if they ever see that they need it. Thank you. Now we are going to move on to our public commentary. There are how many people? Seven people online, and we have 3 people here in the audience. We will take comments from, at this time, we will open up the meeting to public comment, and we'll take comments from the in-person attendees first, and then switch over to Zoom. If you're on Zoom, please virtually raise your hand in Zoom to indicate you would like to speak. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking, and please note that your comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open up the public portion for commentary?
Sure. So moved.
Very good. Thank you all there.
Aye.
Very good. So if there's anybody from the audience who would like to get up, please come to the microphone. State your name and address.
Hi. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Mounds, and I live at 7 Parker Road.
Can you tilt the microphone up a little bit?
Okay.
Thanks. Good.
I sent a lot of you an email this afternoon. I meant to send it on Monday. It got stuck in my outbox. And that email had 4 videos attached to it and a couple paragraphs describing some really intense flooding that happened at my property on Sunday night. I hope you had a chance to look at it, but I understand if you didn't because of when it came in. I did hear from Mr. Grayzel. I heard from Jim Slate, the township engineer, who I've spoken to in the past about this issue. And I'm hoping that I can work with him and you and whoever else to finally address this. I did want to show up because I did want to give a little bit of background about what's been going on at the property, because it's been about a 4-year road and it's been a long road. So like I said, my property is at 7 Parker Road. It's off Madison Avenue. I'm about 4 houses in from Madison Avenue. There is a storm drain that's located right before my driveway. All of the water comes down from the near Madison Avenue, down Parker Road, and ends up in that storm drain. And there's other storm drains that are connected to it. So it's sort of a hub for the storm drains in the neighborhood. that storm drain then, this is hard to describe, but please watch the video. That storm drain directs the water about 10 feet onto the border of me and my neighbor's property and then runs diagonally across my front lawn. So on Sunday night, as you all know, we got an intense amount of rain in about an hour, 2-hour period. I thankfully was able to watch this and take video of it. Water was shooting out of that storm drain in the street. It was shooting out of that basin that's about 10 to 15 feet onto me and my neighbor's property. And because of the slope of the land right there, all of that water was running right into my driveway. The result was about 2 to 3 feet of water in my driveway over a pretty large area. The water ended up in my backyard. My entire backyard was a river. It wasn't just like a little stream. It was a river. It's really impossible to convey the volume of water just using words. So again, please just watch the video. But I did want to give a little bit of background because this is not the first time this has happened, and it's not the first time I've raised this with members of the committee, with people in the town. So I moved to Parker Road in July 2020. I moved in, I went on vacation the next day. 2 days later, I got a call from my contractor that I had 2 feet of water in my finished basement with all of my stuff because I had just moved in. I dumped the stuff in the basement before unpacking. I wasn't home during this, so I didn't get the chance to observe it. I talked to neighbors. They told me the water was coming like a river down Parker Road. Water was shooting out of the drains. I contacted the township. I had an extensive back and forth with members of the township about this. Nothing was done at that time. What I did is I put in drainage. So I already had a dry well in the driveway. I put a grate in front of my garage. The garage has stairs down into the inside of the garage. There were stairs down into the basement. I put a grate in front of the garage leading to a pump that pumps the water away. I put another grate in front of the basement door, which took water to a pump and pumped water away. So I thought that solved the issue. September 2021, Hurricane Ida hits. Again, I wasn't out there just watching my driveway. By the time I realized it, I already had about a foot of water in my basement. So the grates I put in were overwhelmed. At this time again, I did go out, I did observe the water coming down. I had more conversations with the township engineer, people on this committee. I didn't have a lot of back and forth with this committee, but I did have some with the engineer. I realized at this point my drainage wasn't sufficient, so I took what I think is a fairly drastic step of putting a stone wall where my stairs were to my basement. So I eliminated my walkout basement in hopes of protecting the basement. Late summer 2022, and I'll try to move through this quickly, but
You have about 30 more seconds on your 5 minutes. So.
okay, can I have an extra minute or two?
Sure. Yes.
I've been waiting for this for 4 years,
Okay.
so I'm going to get it out. Late summer 2022, again, drainage flooded my driveway and garage. I'll skip the details of that one. What I did is I put in a berm between me and my neighbor's property because there were issues there too. That brings us to Sunday. Water shot out of the storm drain, shot out of that manhole cover that's on my property. Both of the cars in my driveway were totaled. So now I've lost my basement twice. 2 cars totaled. By the time I got out there to move the cars, the water came so quick. I mean, the water once it started coming out of those drains, I was taking on all of the water from my neighborhood. It was just unbelievable. What the township has done for me is they've raised the end of my driveway. I was thankful for that. I didn't think that was a solution. I thought it was a Band-Aid, but I was thankful for it. It was something. That clearly didn't work because the videos you'll see, the water's coming right over that. Plus the water directs to that manhole that's 10 to 15 feet onto my property, which is past the point where the raised driveway is. So I've asked and I pleaded for this issue to be fixed for 4 years. I've sent videos, photos documenting the issue. And I'm kind of at the end of the road here. I live in fear when there's rain. Me and my family, we stand at the window and we watch the driveway, okay, to see if the driveway is filling up with rain. So this, in this storm, because I got the chance to just watch it unfold, really demonstrated that I'm out of options. There's nothing I can do on my property to fix the issue. It needs to be fixed at the source. And again, I know I'm out of time. I'd like to hear how you're going to address it, but I'm out of time, and you just saw the videos, so.
Thank you, Mr. Mountain. I did get your email, and I responded just to acknowledge that I received it. I have not had a chance to look at the videos. Mr. Slade apparently responded, and he hasn't had a chance yet to look at the videos. First, let me say, we're very sorry that you experienced that and that you've had damage to your property. It's awful, and I can only imagine what you're going through. Mr. Slade is going to do an analysis of the situation. I'll turn it over to Mr. Quinn.
Right. I spoke to him briefly before our closed session. So he has the videos. He's going to review them, and he's going to, prepare a response back to Mr. Mount and to the members of the Engineering Standing Committee, yourself and Mr. Ravitz.
Okay. So I am on the Engineering Committee, as is Mr. Ravitz. So we'll hear the response from Mr. Slade. You should also know Jim Slade is a water expert, so he has expertise actually in how water flows. So that'll be a benefit, and we'll see what happens. But clearly, it sounds like something.
It'll be a short period of time just for him to review.
Yeah.
I just need this fixed.
Right.
I just can't. I can't park my cars in my driveway. So I don't have any cars, but if I had cars, I can't park them in my driveway.
Right. Did any of your neighbors have any issues, or is really all the impact on the street coming right at you?
I don't want to speak for all of them. Most of the impact is on me because the water does run, like I said, you'll see in the backyard, the water is running, right, and it runs downhill and it runs into my neighbor's backyard. But her backyard is separated enough from the house where I don't think she has an issue. Another neighbor might have a small issue, but it's mostly me. People have struggle.
Okay. Great. I'll make it a point of coming out and just taking a look at the topography myself, so I'm aware of what's happening.
Please, I work from home up there.
Okay. We will. We'll be back in touch with you very shortly.
Very good. Thanks. Thank you. And again, sorry for the loss of your property.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Any other members of the public? Your name and address, please.
Good evening. Dan Riff, 7 Ironwood Road. I'm a father of 3 young children, with the oldest turning 3 this past week. One of their favorite things to do is to go to the pool during the summer. We've been members of the pool the last 3 summers. We brought our oldest when he was just under 1 and had a flotation device along with direct supervision to ensure his safety. We never had an issue. This summer, our twins were approximately 10 months old and enjoyed the town pool along with other local pools numerous times. However, in mid-July, we were told our sons couldn't use their safety flotation device any longer. We were told they could use a life vest provided by the town or be held in our hands, but no flotation devices were allowed. Life vests in general, and especially the ones provided by the town, are not recommended for children under 2 because they can't control their body and can actually create a greater harm to the child. Therefore, I'm looking to understand the rules in place and the guidance for parents with young children to safely use the pool. Currently, I believe the rules of enforcement discriminate young children, single parents, and potentially disabled individuals. I contacted the Morris Township for answers, the Recreation Department, on July 22nd, in which we got an answer. Only got an answer after multiple emails and multiple phone calls. They essentially came back with a very generic answer saying that they'll look into it and that the rules are the rules. I therefore followed up with specific questions on July 29th, to which I did not receive any answer to this date. On August 9th, I emailed the Township Committee members, 2 of them that are the rec or pool liaisons, with this set of questions. I did get an email back in time to response. But again, it was the same answer that these are the rules and nothing will be addressed until the end of the year, or at the end of the year. Again, I provided a set of questions I was looking for answers for to get some guidance on what's acceptable. If we have a discriminatory rule in place, I don't think that makes it right. The town should be inclusive of all its residents and even the youngest that don't have a voice. So therefore, I have a couple of questions that were listed in the email that I would like to get answers to. I can read them now.
Sure.
Yeah, it's public commentary
What
now.
other
That's it?
community pools were considered based on my own research and calling local pools? Most towns only had limitations on inflatable flotation devices. How does Morris Township not have a policy for infants? What device would be appropriate for a 9 to 15-month-old that can't walk and might not be able to control their body? You're not allowing one that's researched by a parent, so can you please provide guidance on what we can actually use? Holding a child is not a substitute to a flotation device. The device is an addition to supervision. Pool rules state that someone with a disability can use a personal flotation device if approved by pool management. So can you explain the criteria that pool management would approve that device made specific for that person and their needs? Would they physically assess the device or not? In my case, they never even looked at the device in person. Would they turn away a person that's disabled from going to the pool? I would think not, but who knows under this. Can the town provide a study name that shows infants, toddlers, non-swimmers are safer without a flotation device than one than without it? There's also a sign in the pool that encourages non-swimmers to have a safety flotation device with them. Parks and Recreation continue to say the best place for an infant is in the parent's hands. If a parent has a medical condition and has an issue and drops the kids with no device, they fall underwater. Is that safe? The pool can get crowded. I have accidentally been hit multiple times. If that happens and I lose my sons, is that safe for them? Not sure if any of you are parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, but if you have a child between the ages of 9 to 15, they don't like to be held. They squirm. So in water, that creates another safety issue that they can kick away and fall into the water. If you are a single parent with multiple kids, should you not have access to the pool if you can't hold the kids properly? At the pool, lifeguards have flagged people for hanging on people. So how do you allow children to hang on an adult? Are puddle jumpers considered a life vest? They're a hybrid of a life vest and swimmies, so are those allowed? If so, who enforces those, and have they been certified by the U.S. Coast Guard?
Sorry if I'm going to cut you off a little bit. I get the gist of what you're trying to get at here, and I'd be happy to receive your full list of questions.
So they've been sent
They've been sent
to the town recreation time.
So
July 29th
so
to this date, have not received a single
okay,
thing.
so Committeeman. So Mr. Quinn hasn't seen the communications. I haven't seen the communications. I'm going to ask Committeeman Gyorfy if he's seen the communications.
I've not responded, Mr. Ravitz.
Mr. Ravitz.
I've seen liaison has, I will say, they're legitimate questions. Mr. Fulch, who's the head of recreation, I believe responded to you that the policy is as is not going to be changed this year.
Okay, so that just punts
I'm
the
just
issue
letting you
connection.
know. And also, I have not responded to you yet. But I would agree with Mr. Fulch, and I would actually agree, I would say we shouldn't change our policy in the future, because having been a swim instructor myself and a lifeguard, I do personally think infants should not have flotation devices, because I do think it's a safety risk.
So can you
and
provide-
I would agree with him. I'm not going to provide you studies or resources. This is from me being trained, having been a swim instructor for 4 years in my previous life, and I'm a lifeguard for 10 years. That, to me personally, I think they cause a risk, because folks will rely on them too much. I agree, the safest place for an infant or toddler is to be with their parent. And I don't think we're discriminating against people for having that policy in place. So
you
I
just
have not responded through email. You have 9 questions in there. I have a 5-month-old at home that I'm taking care of on parental leave. I do not have time to respond to that email, but if I can get the answers with Mr. Fulch, we will respond. It takes a lot to get to answer
But
this
you
question.
just gave an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. I
Right.
talked to lifeguards. What do lifeguards have as their stance?
We are way beyond the
But
time
they're
limit.
not infants.
Yeah.
They can control the flotation
Yeah.
device.
So
Put
if
it
someone with a
in- put it in
disability,
the pool with a flotation device, they can tip over.
if someone with a disability goes to the pool, what criteria does pool
Okay.
management look at to ensure that that
Oh.
device meets their criteria?
We're going, yeah.
We have two separate issues.
Yeah, we have a couple
You
issues.
guys see that's discrimination, age-based discrimination?
Like I said, not all of us have seen your communications. So we're going to take a look. We're going to ask Mr. Falch to provide the communications to us so that we can take a look ourselves and understand the policy.
But do you think that pool management should respond? Like, do you guys have authority over them? Like, should they just ignore an email if they don't like the email that they got?
Yeah, the governing body has authority, and Mr. Quinn runs the town. So we're going to look into this and see what kind of response was provided to you.
So what would be so I have two twins. What should I do with them? Just not use the pool?
I think the answer, from what I understand, I don't know the pool rules, is that you can hold your kids in the pool.
So again, lifeguards yell at people for when kids are hanging on people.
But they're not yelling at parents with infants.
But they shouldn't be. They shouldn't
They don't.
be.
They're not yelling
I
at.
think we're giving an opinion.
They're yelling. They're yelling.
It's a fact. Lifeguards don't yell at you if you have an infant in your hands.
If you've experienced,
I've gotten, I have a 3-year-old. He hangs on me.
Okay.
He's gotten told he cannot hang on me.
Mr. Riffin, I did respond to you. I know you weren't too thrilled with my response because I also agreed
I just
with.
said I was looking for specific.
No, I get it. And I happen to agree with Mr. Fultz because we put him in charge of doing the research. But I understand where you're coming from because, hang on, let me finish. I'm a dad too. And I raised young children in a pool, and I am completely sympathetic with what you're saying, okay? I don't have facts in front of me. All I have is an opinion, and I'm not going to give you my opinion right now because it doesn't matter. It's just an opinion. But what I will say is, and what I told you to do, is to please come to the Swim Pool Advisory Committee meeting at the end of the season where we talk about changes to policy for next year. And this is a discussion point that we will definitely have. I can't say that, what's going to be the result of it, but you are a resident and your opinion does matter. So please come to the meeting, but I don't see the township, as I had told you, changing their policy mid-year like this.
Well, it's already too late. So again, mid-July.
But for next year and for other residents.
$30 is a lot for a family to spend on pool membership, and then when they're not allowed to use it, they're disheartening.
I appreciate
break up a family that you have certain members that can use the pool under the current rules and certain that can't. Again, I've been to numerous pools this year. The only thing that they've ever said about the devices is they cannot be inflatable. That's what causes the risk.
Like I said, I'm sympathetic. I was a dad too. Mr. Gyorfy's a dad. He was also a swim instructor. The policy is not going to change for the remainder of this year. But please, but for yourself for next year and for the benefit of other residents.
All right.
You punt this to next year, and then we silence me. It's no longer an issue for me.
No, you're not.
No, we're not.
At all.
You will get a response to your email.
Okay, so what's the appropriate time I can expect a response from?
Mid next week. I have a meeting tomorrow with Mr. Falch. I'll review. I'm sorry?
A month lag is generally an appropriate.
No, I will.
That's inappropriate.
But I have a meeting with Mr. Falch tomorrow, and I will add that to the agenda to make sure that you get a response.
Staff has told me that they would allow it without even saying it. They said, Bill, you won't change it. So again,
I will defend Mr. Falch. He's got 40 years experience compared to the staff there that's got 2 or 3 years experience. So I will certainly rely on Mr. Falch's expertise. But you will get a response. I'm not going to debate with this, you sir, on the dais.
Real quick though, in your email chain, we have a response from Bill Falch on July 27th to your email.
Yeah, and
So,
I said I
but he didn't
responded
respond
on
to you.
the 29th.
But he responded to your initial email.
29th.
Right.
July 29th is August 22nd. I work at a company. I cannot.
I understand, but he answered your question.
Yeah.
He didn't answer my question.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is, Mr. Quinn said he's gonna review, Mr. Quinn's the administrator, everybody reports up to him, okay? Mr. Quinn's gonna meet with Bill Falch tomorrow, he's gonna review the emails, and he is gonna respond to you, Mr. Quinn will respond to you within a week. So by next Wednesday.
Actually, no, I'll probably
On
Mr. Falch responding, most likely, but he will get a response.
You'll get a response from Mr. Quinn or Mr. Falch, and Mr. Quinn will be copied on the response.
Can I get the questions actually answered, not just whether or not?
We will review your email and respond appropriately.
I will say though, you can't, discrimination against a toddler is not a recognized discrimination. They're not a protected class of age of a toddler. Age discrimination involves elderly, not,
No protected, 40 and above. But you don't think people younger, are they not residents of the town?
it's not discrimination though.
What about someone with a disability?
Okay.
Again, what's the criteria that's used?
We have criteria for that, but your specific instance is, the recommendation is to hold the child in your arms. That's the recommendation.
So if they were
Okay.
separate,
Yeah.
go under,
We,
the town would be liable, like on this recording, saying that that's okay, you're putting 3 people lives at risk instead of 1.
not going
that
to
would-
I'm not gonna, are there,
we're going
That's your
in circles.
discretion what you do with your children at the pool.
yeah.
And that's why they're not no longer using the pool, because I don't feel safe for them without a
Okay.
flotation device. One that's made specific for kids 3 months to 24 months.
But don't we have a splash pool for the younger kids?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so they have
You know
access
what
to
happens
this.
when you have 2 toddlers that crawl?
Mhm.
You put them on the splash pad, and then they crawl into the pool.
Okay, like I said, you will get a response within a week. We appreciate you coming out and letting us know your concerns. And again, take Mr. Ravitz up on his offer to come meet with the Swim Pool Advisory Committee at the end of the year when the rules are changed. And even if you are not going to use the pool for next year, if you feel it's important for the community, then you should relay those feelings to the Swim Pool Advisory Committee so that it'll help others in the future.
I think we should change the language in the pool that it's not really, if you have children under 2, it's not really made for them.
We understand. Thank you again for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing nobody else in the public here, we're going to turn to Zoom.
We have one on that.
We have one person on Zoom who has their hand raised,
Mr. Bressman
Mr. Bressman.
and Mr. McCormick. Mr. Bressman was first.
Okay, Mr. Bressman's first. If you could unmute yourself. And
I did.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. My name is Leo Bressman. I live at 4 Nast Road, Morris Township. And I would like to thank the Township Committee for your proclamation on Suicide Prevention Month. I am the communications lead for Moms Demand Action for the New Jersey chapter, and I'm also a resident of Morris Township. And the challenge that we have in our organization is to bring awareness to the various tools that we have available to reduce suicide by gun. As you mentioned before, that is the most prevalent method of suicide, and unfortunately, 90% of suicide attempts by gun are successful. We have 2 specific tools that we promote, and both of them save lives. It has been documented. One you mentioned are extreme risk protection orders, or more commonly referred to as a red flag law. And the way this works is if you know a family member or a close friend that is a risk to themselves or others, and they own a gun, you can petition the court to either temporarily or permanently remove the gun from his possession. And the best way to initiate that is to work with the local police department, as you've mentioned. The other program we call Be Smart, and that is to promote safe gun storage. Now, what I'm going to offer you is my organization. We are prepared to go anywhere and provide presentations on both of these tools. Our challenge, again, is we need to push out awareness of them. So if any of you would like to take advantage of our presentations for either yourself or any organization in town, please reach out to me and I will make the arrangements. And again, I want to thank you for helping us in our mission of addressing gun violence. And I apologize for not being there in person tonight.
Great. Thank you very much for joining, and the Township Committee always appreciates when they get a compliment, so thank you for that as well. Since we don't have your contact information, if you could email us, that would be great.
I will.
Administration@morristwp.com.
Administration@morristwp.com. If you could send that information over, then Mr. Quinn will disseminate it to us. Administration@morristwp.com. Or you can find our email addresses on our municipal website.
Right, I will certainly do that.
Very good. Thank you again for coming tonight.
Okay, thank you.
And we have one other person with a hand raised.
Mr. McCormick was raised, is no longer up. There it is. Yes.
Mr. McCormick, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Your name and address, please.
Robert McCormick, 36 Center Avenue. In light of the other audience members' comments regarding flooding concerns, I'm wondering what the status is regarding the revised tree ordinance required as per the new MS4 stormwater permitting requirements, considering trees play a crucial role in mitigating stormwater runoff among numerous other benefits. I emailed with Mr. Quinn about this back in June, to which he replied there was an expected time frame of about August to September for the public hearing and vote. So I was just curious to get an update on this.
So
I can respond if you want. Go ahead.
So the status update, the latest is that we sent our existing tree ordinance down to the Department of Environmental Protection for review to see how it might be deficient. We just recently got comments back on the fact that we need to add some language to the homestead section of that ordinance. And Mr. Slate and the TCC, the Technical Coordinating Committee, are going to be working on that to provide a recommendation to the Township Committee on how we need to revise our ordinance. Do you have anything else to add, Mr.
No,
Quinn?
that is correct, and it should be, coming up probably in the next month or so. The TC meets twice a month, and they're working on that.
So to answer your question, we are aware that we need to update our tree ordinance. What those updates are, we're not exactly sure yet until we get those recommendations back. But then we will be holding a public hearing, and the proposed ordinance will be posted online.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, thank you, and thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate your participation. Do we have any more hands raised?
I don't think so. I don't see any, sir.
Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. Next, let's see. Flip the script here. We have two ordinances for introduction on tonight's agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the title of Ordinance 22-24 into the record.
Ordinance 22-24, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris, amending and readopting Chapter 460, towing of the Township Code. Note, revised selection process.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 22-24?
So moved.
Second.
Do I have any questions or comments on the ordinance? We usually do that on the public hearing, but, well, anybody? No, very good. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. The public hearing and final consideration and adoption of ordinance number 22-24 will be held on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the municipal building at 50 Woodland Avenue. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the next ordinance for introduction into the record.
Ordinance 23-24. Ordinance reappropriating $79,155.16 proceeds of obligation not needed for their original purposes in order to provide for the replacement of the swim pool UV light disinfection water treatment system in by the Township of Morris. Note reappropriation of funds for swim pool UV disinfection system.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 23-24?
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions about it? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. The public hearing and final consideration and adoption of ordinance number 23-24 will be held on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Municipal Building at 50 Woodland Avenue. Now we have 24 resolutions on tonight's agenda. Committee member Gyorfy will recuse himself from 2003-203 and 213, I believe.
That is correct.
Very good. So may I have a motion to approve resolutions in a block of 195 to 202, and then 204
to 12
to 212, and 214 to
217.
217.
So moved.
Second.
Good interim.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah, very good. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. Very good. And now may I have a motion to move resolutions 203 and 213-24?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. And Mr. Gyorfy is recusing himself on both of those. Next on the agenda, we have 8 items for the consent calendar this evening. Can I have a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar by one motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The following reports are on file in the office of the Township Clerk and Township Administrator. The April Finance Report, the May reports from Fire and Finance, June report from Police, July reports from Police, Morris and Morris Township Library, Tax Department, and Joint Court. Can I have a motion to approve the monthly reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And next, the claims for payment. The total amount of bills and vouchers for this meeting is $15,875,333.78. I remind the public that we are also the tax collector for the school district, the library, and the county. We collect those funds and then we distribute them. May I have a motion to approve the list of bills and vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Or actually, it's a roll
No,
call.
roll call.
Oh,
Thank you. Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Yes. At this time, we will give standing committee reports and general commentary that will be provided by each of the township committee members. I'm going to start with Mr. Jonnada.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. First, for Environmental Commission, a group of us were at Town Hall to look at native plants plan. So we have with EC members and Committeeman Ravitz and I were with the possible vendor with the head of Buildings and Ground. And we're looking to have a garden plan to be developed and looking for plantings to be done sometime next year, possibly June. Also, we EC Environmental Commission members, as well as Deputy Mayor Grayzel and I had a tour of the community garden on Picatinny Road. It was led by Ned Gardner, who was a volunteer head supervisor of it. And it was a very well-tended garden. It's been established for a good while. And I would encourage anybody to try to participate in it or even just look for a tour of it because it's well-tended. And in terms of transportation, TAC has had 2 walks recently. One was at Jones Woods on June 10th and one at Jockey Hollow Top on June 17th. The Jones Woods ones was well attended with nearly 20 people. Rick Bai, who helped blaze some of the trails, told us of the history of the place, which includes that it was a former water reservoir for a local water company, and told us a lot of the history, showed us before and after pictures. And following week, only a handful of us were at Jockey Hollow Top. That was led by DJ Kurnow. but that was also a fun walk for that. Both trails are really among the hidden treasures of the township. I mean, I've lived here a good while. I did hear about Jones Woods, but rarely went there, and I never went to Jockey Hollow Top. But I encourage people to go find those and be able to walk there. Tomorrow, there's going to be a senior walk at Lowanica Park. So if anybody's interested, it's at 4:00. And there's a couple of others planned in September, October. In addition, I attended an Eagle Scout honoring ceremony with Mayor Goriglia and Committeeman Ravitz, and I was honored to see the community projects created by the 3 honorees, and it was very inspiring to see them. And also inspirational was seeing the local Little League team off after they won the state championships to the regionals in Connecticut. The outcome was not as what we had wanted, but at the same time, we were very happy and proud of the children, of the young men who give us an inspiring victories as they did, and for that we should be proud and be grateful for them. And also congratulations to a local Olympian, Nick Fink, who won the silver medal for swimming at the Olympics. And for my commentary, watching the recent Olympic Games in Paris, I was struck by how they were cheered by their parents and other family members in the stands. Normally we see that, we take it for granted, but seeing how the Little League was encouraged by their own family members and by their coaches, and also the Eagle Scouts by their scout leaders and their parents. That's one thing that we do take for granted, but we should also admire them, because these adults have taken their time to provide training and to build character of these young people. We notice their accomplishments when they complete the projects or win their championships, but coaches and mentors have always been doing that to our youth as they grow into adulthood. And as a parent of a Girl Scout who had won a gold award herself, I can appreciate these accomplishments of these young people. So cheers to the awardees, champions, and all participants, and cheers to the parents, coaches, youth leaders, and other mentors for being examples for these young people to get through to their levels of achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jonnada. I must say that I'm missing my history lesson today, though.
Next time.
Next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's the summer.
Thank you very much. Committeeman Gyorfy.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank you, Deputy Mayor, for starting our meeting off with a moment of silence for Congressman Bill Pascrell. Having worked in DC and served with a lot of the Congressman's staff, working very closely with them, having worked for a member of the New Jersey delegation myself, Congressman Pascrell was a fierce and relentless advocate for Patterson. He was Patterson through and through. He worked his butt off for his district and the state. And he is someone, whoever winds up replacing him has big shoes to fill. He did a tremendous job. He was on the Ways and Means Committee, which is one of the most powerful committees in government, and did a lot of good work for the working class people of New Jersey. He was also a staunch supporter for firefighters across the country and here in New Jersey. Because of him, we have the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program and the Safe Staffing for Firefighters Grant Programs, which are now, incredibly common and incredibly strongly supported by Congress each and every year in the annual funding process to support fire departments local and citywide across the country. So Bill Pascrell will be missed. My condolences to his family, to the city of Patterson, and to all my friends who worked for him in the past and still work for him in DC. As we approach the fall, I wanted to make note of our Veterans Banners program through the Hometown Heroes. Applications for our fall printings will go out shortly. There will be an email announcement. Applications must be received by October 1st to have a banner printed for yourself, a family member, a loved one, to have hung up by Veterans Day this year. Banners cost $200, and they're purchased through the American Legion Post 59 as a charitable contribution. The American Legion and the Daughters of the American Revolution will review the applications, and our staff here, particularly Annalise Rush, who's done a great job with this program, will process the applications and make sure everything is printed in time. This is a great program, and we're excited to see how many more banners we get this year to honor our hometown heroes. Lastly, another fall event, Saturday, October 5th, is Hillside Host Company's annual Oktoberfest from 2 to 8 p.m. at Hillside Firehouse. I would venture to say it is the best fall event we have, aside from Trunk or Treat in Morris Township in the fall.
Trunk or Treat doesn't have beer.
With that, I'll yield back up to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Gyorfy. Committeeman Ravitz.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And thank you all for who attended or be watching this on video. National politics gets all the spotlight, especially this week, but it's typically what we do here that has the biggest impact on our lives. Not much to report on standing committees, so I'm going to jump into my commentary. Congratulations to the state champion Morris Township, Town and Morris Plains U2 Little League team on their stellar run. Quite an achievement, and it's something that we should all be proud of. New Jersey also fielded an impressive group of athletes in the Olympic Summer Games held in Paris. And I want to give a shout out to the athletes who have ties in Morris County. John Tolkien, 21, Chatham Borough, men's soccer. He also plays for the Red Bulls. Katura Orji, 28 of Mount Olive, women's gymnastics, and this was her third Olympic Games. Nick Fink, 30 of Morris Township, swimming medalist, and this was his second Olympics. Jack Alexi, 21 of Morristown, a swimmer. Morgan Pearson, 30, formerly of New Vernon, did the triathlon. Amanda Golini from Randolph, plays field hockey. Alexander Hedge, a graduate of Morristown High School, was on the rowing team. And I want to give a special acknowledgement to Casey Murphy, 28, goalkeeper for the U.S. women's team from Bridgewater. Casey and my daughter were rivals from about the age of 10 all through high school. Montgomery versus Bridgewater were always most of the nerve-wracking games throughout the years. They took turns being high school state champions. They both played for the elite PDA Academy during high school. I got to know Casey and her parents, and they are truly wonderful people, and congratulations to all of them, and I yield my time back. Oh, no, I don't. Hang on. I don't. But wait, there's more. As I've been watching the Democratic convention this week, it makes me smile when the party messaging is the same as what I've been saying in my commentaries every month. And that is, let's not marginalize or demonize the people who have less political or economic power than some of us currently enjoy. Rather, let's stand up to those who continue to profit from our division. Equal rights for all citizens don't diminish the rights of any other citizen. We have more in common that should never divide us, which we will rediscover by talking to each other. Amplifying misinformation and hateful or violent rhetoric is not part of any civil society. And lastly, let's, as you go about your day, do be kind out there, kind to yourselves and kind to others, because kindness matters. And now I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Ravitz. Thanks for acknowledging all those Olympians who made us proud here in New Jersey. I do believe Jack Alexi lives in Mendham, not Morristown. Slight clerk.
But yeah, right. Oh, thank you.
But he did go to Del Barton School in Morris Township, as did Morgan Pearson, who participated in the Olympics as well. So we have a couple connections here in Morris Township to the Olympics. But thanks for listing all those people out. I also want to thank Mr. Gyorfy for his comments on Congressman Pascarell and acknowledging the good work that he's done. I always appreciated following him, particularly here in New Jersey, because I felt that when he disagreed with you, he really explained very well why he did so and clearly stated the reasons for his position. And he did that very well compared to what I've seen other politicians do. And I always appreciated that skill that he had when he addressed people that he did not agree with. So my standing committee reports are 4EC. I'd like to, Mr. Jonnada gave a summary of the community gardens, but I also would like to thank Ned Gardner for leading that tour, but also for the great work that he does. I was amazed how well that garden is run and how beautiful it looks. And he puts a lot of time and effort into doing that. And his efforts really should be lauded, and everybody should go take a look at that beautiful garden. He also says that he misses you, Committee Manager.
I was gonna ask, how are the apple trees doing?
Yes,
We worked with them, but,
he mentioned you. That,
in a good way or a bad way?
Mr.
Because I know
Gyorfy had the
there's
suggestion.
some animosity towards the apple trees.
Well, no, I think he appreciated the apple trees, but not the fact that now he has responsibility for them.
Listen, they're beautiful trees. They produced fruit in their first year, and now they can donate that fruit to the Interfaith Food Pantry, which is a beautiful thing.
Yes, that's a great thing. It's a great thing, and they do have that cooler there that people can put. They empty it daily.
Hundreds of pounds a year they donate.
Yes, every day there's a cooler there that gets filled up with food and it gets donated, and that's really a wonderful thing. On tonight's agenda, we accepted the resignation of Leslie Wentz from our Environmental Commission. I always like to thank volunteers on all of our boards and committees for their dedication to the community and for doing work on behalf of others in our town. This creates an opening on the Environmental Commission, and we are reviewing volunteer applications we have received to date. We also have openings on our green team, so if you have an interest in helping the environment here in Morris Township, please fill out a volunteer application form that you can find on our website, and we will take a look at your application. For police, on tonight's agenda, we approve the permanent appointments of Patrol Officer Christopher Fearing, Patrol Officer Ryan Carlin, and Patrol Officer Samantha Nacuzzi. All three officers were appointed in July 2023, and they have now successfully completed all aspects of their field training, as well as successfully completing their one-year probationary period on the Morris Township Police Force. I congratulate them on their permanent appointments, and I wish them very well in their careers here in Morris Township.
Good.
Engineering. Each year, the municipality allocates $800,000 to repaving streets in our municipality, the streets that are most in need. This year, we allocated additional funding to repair curbing and repave the entire Bradford Estates neighborhood after the completion of a comprehensive water line upgrade. The annual overlay program, which is underway or it's about to begin?
Started.
Covers the following streets: Bishop Court, Bradwell Drive, Bromley Way, Canfield Terrace, Hawthorne Court, Linfield Drive, Rambling Woods Drive, and Stephen Crane Way. A separate allocation was made for Bailey Hall Road, and that work is actually set to begin tomorrow, as I got the notice myself from.
And there's an overlay in my neighborhood.
In your neighborhood as well?
Public service.
For public service.
Yeah.
Of the entire street or half a street?
A lot of it.
A lot of it's most, but they're both.
Well, I'm going to have to add that to my list next month.
Okay.
Okay. There's, as I said before, there's a separate allocation for Bradford Estates neighborhood, which had new water lines installed throughout the neighborhood. And the following streets are going to be resurfaced there: Bear Court, Bickford Drive, Bradford Court, Colonel Evans Drive, Jason Lane, Lord William Drive. And additionally, as I state every month, I talk about the road reconstruction projects that we have underway. The neighborhood off of Speedwell Avenue, consisting of Kennedy Road, Gregory Avenue, and Pine Tree Lane, is undergoing the reconstruction with newly added sidewalks, Belgian block curving, and upgraded drainage. And I've driven by it a couple times, and it really looks nice. It's a tremendous upgrade to the neighborhood.
They did the final paving this week.
The final paving
was done
this week. No, I'll have to go back and take a look. Work on the reconstruction of Overlook Road and Westminster Place is going to take place shortly. And these reconstruction projects, along with the recently completed Southgate Parkway project, are just great examples of how Morris Township is continually investing in our town to make it a nicer place for all our residents and a more desirable place to live and raise a family. We have additional upcoming projects of Harder Road, Belmar Road, Bryan Avenue, and is it Ridgefield Road? Ridgewood Road. Got it. For my general commentary, I too would like to congratulate the Morris Area Little League 12U team for winning the New Year's State Championship and then competing in the Little League World Series tournament. Just to be clear, the team is comprised of residents from the three towns of Morris Township, Morristown, and Morris Plains. and our boys really, really made us proud this year. I'd like to congratulate the 59 graduates of the Tri-Morris Junior Police Academy program. The Junior Police Academy is a cooperative between the 3 municipalities of Morristown, Morris Township, and Morris Plains. The program is open to any 7th or 8th grader, though returning recruits from previous years may enroll up to the 12th grade. And the purpose of the program is to build leadership skills, instill discipline, and expose young people to first responder careers. The intensive 2-week course of instruction, which allows teenagers some behind-the-scenes appreciation for law enforcement and emergency medical responders, is so appealing that about half of the recruits in this year's class were actually repeat customers of the program from last year. And lastly, although the summer is almost over, the Morris Township concert series is not. The Hanover Wind Symphony concert, which had been postponed twice because of weather, is now scheduled to commence on September 15th. So let's hope the third time is a charm, and I encourage everybody to come out on Sunday, September 15th for our final concert. And that concludes my own remarks. Next on the agenda is public commentary and inquiry of the second round. There's nobody here in the room. Is there anybody on Zoom?
Mrs. Memmer.
I'll make the motion to open the second public portion.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, very good. So we're going to turn to Mrs. Memmer. Just remind you that you have 5 minutes to make your remarks, and if you could state your name and address when you come on. Mrs. Memmer, you can proceed.
Marlene Memmer, 63 Independence Way. Good evening, all. I have a question regarding the agenda, and there was an ordinance that was introduced last month, 2124, but I did not see it on tonight's agenda for approval. Was that ordinance pulled last month?
It was a special meeting.
Mrs. Memmer, you are quite sharp, and I am so glad that you keep us on our toes every month. We did have a special meeting on
July 30th.
July 30th, was it?
Yes.
July 30th, because we had to complete the approval of that ordinance by the end of the month in order for the owner of the marketplace to get financing. So we did have a very brief, I think it was about a 10-minute meeting on July 30th.
7 minutes.
7-minute meeting on July 30th, which was noticed to the public. It was available on the website. The agenda is posted on the Agenda Center, and the minutes will go up afterwards. But yes, we did introduce that at the last meeting, and we approved it at the July 30th special meeting.
Okay, thank you very much for that information, and I will check again online on the website. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you, and thank you for participating in the meeting. Seeing no other members of the public wishing to speak, will someone make a motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The time is now 8:05. Can I have a motion to adjourn this regular session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The next Township Committee meeting will convene on Wednesday, September 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We will meet at 5:30 p.m. for a closed session after the Board of Health, which is meeting at 5 p.m. right here in the Municipal Building at 50 Woodland Avenue, and in person, and a Zoom link will be provided for that meeting as well. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Have a good evening.
Very good.
All right. Good.